I'm Ashleigh Carter of Bierstadt Lagerhaus, and this is a bonus episode of the Brewer to Brewer podcast from All About Beer.
Woo! Podcast!
Woo! My guest is the esteemed and needs no introduction, Jeff Bagby, and he is here at the Sun King Brewery in Indianapolis for a conversation that goes beyond the brew house and into topics that matter to brewing professionals and curious beer drinkers. First, please visit allaboutbeer.com and follow on social media at allaboutbeer. And to support journalism in the beer space, check out allaboutbeer.com/support. We'll get into the conversation in just a moment, but first, this message.
Since 2009, Brewery Branding has been crafting merch that helps breweries thrive. They're born and raised in Portland, Oregon, giving them front row seats to the craft beer revolution and inspiring them to serve as your industry ally for everything branded. Apparel, headwear, drinkware, and all of the wouldn't it be cool if ideas you can dream up. Brewery Branding has been there, done that, and made the t-shirts to prove it. Brewery Branding didn't rise to the top just by being just another supplier. They're your merch mercenaries, ready to get in the trenches with you. Their expert design team, online stores, warehousing, and fulfillment services are here to make your life easier and your custom goods more profitable than painful. Whether you're refreshing your retail space, gearing up for festival season, or launching a new product in retail, Brewery Branding delivers custom goods that are on trend, on brand, and ready to succeed. From the smallest batch to the biggest order, nothing gets them more excited than raising a glass to your success. Visit brewerybranding.com to learn more. First Tea is a proud sponsor of the Brewer to Brewer podcast. First Tea has worked with top brewers across the country to bring popular and innovative ingredients to beer and hard tea. Contact First Tea to learn more about natural and flavorful teas, botanicals, and instant teas. Email info@firsttea.com. That's FIRSDTEA.com to find out more.
Okay, let's get into it here. A bit about my guest today, my second podcasting host. Last time I did Tanya Cornett, but here I have Jeff Bagby. He's been a professional brewer in San Diego for over 27 years. He left key position as director of brewery operations at Pizza Port at the end of 2011 to start Bagby Beer Company with his wife Dandelion. They live in the northern part of San Diego County with their 4 beagles, seriously 4 beagles, and a funny cat. Jeff started his professional brewing career at Stone in 1997. He worked at White Labs and spent a few years brewing for OG's? Perfect. OG's before being at Pizza Port for just over a decade. Jeff is a native San Diegan, only leaving Southern California to complete his higher education at UCSB. While at UCSB, Jeff started homebrewing with friends and learning about craft beer. He's passionate about creating excellent classics, true to style and drinkable beers. He was also responsible for the cocktail, spirit, and guest beer program at Bagby Beer. While he and Dandy ceased operations at Bagby Beer at the end of January 2024, Jeff is still active in the industry. So, I get to welcome you in here, and I'm super excited about this. I'm kind of nervous, which is weird because I do get to talk to you quite a bit. I got my little notebook ready.
Nice.
But thank you for agreeing to be on the podcast with me.
Happy to be here.
And I don't know why I'm so nervous, but I am because I get to talk to, again, somebody who needs no introduction. But I think that what you have been so responsible for in this industry and such just an ever-present person that has handled so many different kinds of adversity, have brewed so many different styles, has found a way to continuously be educational and continue education throughout time. I just think I'm such an admirer of you, and I'm lucky enough to call you one of my closest friends. So,
thank you.
Anyways, I'll get into this. I definitely want you to take this wherever you want to go, and hopefully this is just a cool conversation.
Yes.
So let's get into kind of the nitty gritty. Let's get a little little things out of the way. Okay, you are probably, I don't know this for sure because I didn't know exactly how to look it up, and I'm kind of bad at computers, but you've probably won the most medals in maybe the history of all beer ever. In the GABF, do you have do you have a medal count? I've seen them all.
I think Dandelion, when we were putting together Bagby Beer, went and literally looked through results records from GABF and World Beer Cup. I know combined between the two, it's over 50, but I don't know the exact number.
Man, so humble. I'd be like, have them all tattooed on me by now. But I guess that's why you are who you are. What would you say like your most awarded beer is or has been?
That's a good question too. A lot of people, back in the Pete Sport days, we were, I say we because it wasn't solely me. I definitely had a team and a lot of assistance with brewing those beers. People associated our beers as hoppy beers, as IPA or Imperial IPA, and in fact, we didn't win. We won some medals in those categories, but it was pretty broad. I look back to what beers like hit consistently. American Stout was one. I think between GABF and World Beer Cup, at least a couple of golds and a couple of silvers in that category. Also with Belgian Style Golden or Belgian Style Strong Pale. There's a lot of medals in there, so it branched out. Strong Scotch or Scotch Ale, there's a lot there. So one of the things that I liked and I kind of started trying to hone in on when I was at Pizza Port was the ability to brew a broad range of things. Unfortunately, at Pete Sport, we didn't really have time to get lager in, so I didn't really work on lager until I got to Bagby beer or got my own thing going. But we actually won a Pilsner medal at Carlsbad, German-style Pils silver way back. So there was that time, but It's just so broad. Maybe that's why the medal count's high. I don't know.
Because they're all over the place. Because they're amazing. I think like something. Okay, so I'm gonna pitch it to you again because Tanya told me I have to pitch it to you again.
Okay.
We all think you should write a book or become a podcast host. That's what every like mid-white dude does, anyways. But you're not mid, so definitely don't do that. But we're gonna be on a quest, the 2-woman quest, to make sure that you write a recipe book. Like. When you're building these classic styles, and I think when people hear classic styles, like I think automatically sometimes they think tired or old or legacy or whatever. Like when you're brewing classic styles, like how do you look at those recipes? Like what to you do you look at historical stuff? Do you solely pull it from flavor profile? Like how do you keep them being beers that people want to drink without being completely like 30% crystal malt, you know what I mean? Yeah. What inspires you about making classic styles? Like how do you go about what's your recipe design or do you not? Does it just feel like natural?
No, it's definitely not natural, and it is definitely difficult to get people interested in some of these styles. We way back when making things like English bitter. First of all, most customers don't even know what that is, and so you're also trying to be true to that style while also getting it to actually sell. So I think that the approach I took and take is multi-faceted. So not only trying to remember and taste examples that I like from either the source, say if it's a European style or something like that, or other examples in the US from friends or other breweries that I really respect to go, that tastes to me like what I want to do and what I want to be. And a lot of times I'll just find out, hey, I really like this beer, who made it? And go back and talk with that person and go, oh, okay, cool, that's what that is. And then we always took notes. Like I consider myself more an artistic brewer than a scientific brewer. So my notes and my brew sheets were information for me, but I could look back, and I always did if I was, we're always constantly trying to improve on these beers and these styles as we rebrew them. But trying to remember and go, okay, we did this malt combined with this malt at these temperatures, and we got this character. We really like that character. So if you think about the beer in layers, even it's a very simple beer, maybe it's 2 malts and 1 hop, you're still looking at it as not only what do you want it to look like, what do you want it to smell like, what do you want the texture and the body to be, what sort of flavor ride do you want to have when you're drinking this beer, So you just kind of look at all those approaches, look back to what you've done before, and use that information to move forward and make adjustments. I'm not a very studious person, so I haven't read a whole lot of brewing books. I never went to brewing school. I'm much more of a hands-on person. So really, I think one of the things that expanded my sort of knowledge and ability to make a wide range of styles was to travel and talk to brewers not only in different parts of the U.S. but in different parts of Western Europe and the U.K. and go, hey, how do you guys do this? What do you do? What are you using? And some of the stuff that I learned was shocking.
Some of the places, man. I mean, you go in there and you're like, oh, you make beer here. This is very, this is rustic. We'll call it that.
Yeah, definitely. But just to get a better idea about what those things are. If I'm, working on Kolsch, like that was something that I first started doing when I got to Bagby Beer, and I spent time in Cologne, and I met some people, some Germans, and talked about that. Tasted tons and tons of different Kolsch. Went back to the U.S. and went, okay, you made like American Blonde Ale, and you're calling it Kolsch. There's a very big difference. There's a very delicate nuance to Kolsch yeast and what it produces in a beer, and that was important to me to go, okay, I want to reproduce this thing that I've had, make it my own, but also tie it back to what I believe that real style is, and I think that's not easy to do, and it's not easy to communicate those things to the general beer drinking public. But at least if we're sending this out and we're putting it, this is this style, it's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And hopefully your bar staff and hopefully people ask questions, and you keep going. And if you get, I've had German people come in and drink alt beer at Bagby Beer and tell me, this really tastes like home. And I was like,
what a nice compliment. Is it the best compliment ever? Yeah, ever. Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, that's so cool. Oh my gosh. And, to just kind of hit that button and go, cool. I got an actual German person from Dusseldorf come in here and tell me that the alt beer is great.
See,
that's rad.
You gotta write the book. You gotta write a book about all the recipes that you've ever made. Like, how many do you think that you've how many different beers? I mean, and I want you to think about iteratively too. Like, do you ever just make one and never make it again, or is every beer you've made
I'd say the majority of them have been made more. I was trying to think of when you said this beer that one and done. Tommy and I made a beer in Solana Beach once that was a smoked rye Weizenbock.
I mean, that's a choice, I guess. Yeah, we need this week in Rausch beer. Bring it back.
We called it Smokey the Ryebach.
Okay. Did the name come first?
The name did not come first.
Okay, all right.
But we kind of couldn't believe it. We were super happy with it, but it actually sold. We're like, how did that happen? We thought we'd be the only ones drinking this thing, but that one's only been made once.
That one was only made once.
And let's see. That's what I was going to say. So the breadth here. Mm-hmm. I've always honed in kind of all of my beer styles and things on 4 basic kind of starting points, which is Belgian styles, German styles, and English styles. You can include Scottish and Irish in the
I don't
UK
think they would
style.
like. I don't think they would be mad about that.
They would be mad about that, but I didn't want to add on to that. Yeah. So
trying to keep it tight.
So very Western Europe styles, Western Island styles.
There you go.
Anyway, and the last one would be what I kind of call American classics. So things like American Red Ale,
Brown Ale,
American Brown, and some of the stout, like American Stout, things like that. Cream Ale would fit into there. But yeah, and later in Bagby we got into things like American Lager.
Yep. So you when you started? Okay, so 1997, right? And when you were at Pizza Port, when did you start at Pizza Port? What year?
First would have been in 2001, I believe, 1 or 2.
Cool.
That's a good question.
It all kind of blends together. It's fine. Somewhere around then. Did you think that, like, when you first started making those kind of classic recipes there, like, did you feel like by the time you had, you had Bagby, that those recipes really evolved, or did you kind of stay true to some of the original versions of those recipes?
That's a good question. First of all, when I worked at Pizza Port the first time, I had no idea that I would ever own my own brewery. So that was that. Thinking about brewing, I was very interested in just learning, period. And so whatever I could learn about the beers that I liked, which happened to be classic style beers, that was where I was going to put my efforts. And yeah, moving forward, I've definitely used a lot of those as kind of the base, kind of call it the jumping off point, I guess. So certain, dark ale, that very broad category, right? And thinking about malt percentages, because that's where you're starting. And I used to get IBU questions all the time. I'm like, I have no idea.
Some
too little, too much, or just right is like what I would use.
Perfect.
So yeah, I definitely go think back to those times, and especially brewing with Tommy. A lot of the dark ale styles, those bases started back there, and in time, we moved, doing things like very simple things like moving from American crystal and darker malts to British crystal and darker malts, things like that, where we were always kind of like, okay, why this has a different depth and character to it, especially when we combine it with this, and this. So we're going to keep moving that direction.
Better access to more types of ingredients that are also fresher. I'm sure that changed. I mean, you can tell, like, we make in something agriculture, right? Like, it changes over time, and we're kind of at the mercy of these agricultural products, between malt and hops and things like that. And I think, you probably have seen the evolution of how much better malt has gotten, more consistent, and hops, and being able to have a wider things to choose from. So I'd imagine that kind of affected the way that you made beer too, right? Like, once you have something, you're like, oh, well, I want to use that. Have you ever been, like, inspired by a specific ingredient to make a beer, or does it always recipe up?
I think it's always started with an idea on a style or a final, glass of beer, and then worked backwards. Definitely with the proliferation of more different varieties of malt, more different varieties of hops, and different techniques has come into play, and I'll go to those. But it starts with, what do I want in this glass at the when we're finally serving it.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like there's so since you've won so many awards and a bajillion things, do you feel like there's an elusive beer that you, like, never won for or thought you should have? Like, there's like did you chase any, like, it's got to get it one time because it's so good and it like fits the style so well? Like, do you have one of those, or have you just destroyed everything?
No, I definitely have not destroyed everything. I won. There's one style that, and you'll immediately know what I'm talking about when I say German Weiss.
Yeah.
I have always loved the style, and years ago even won a bronze at GABF in the category. But it was always one of those things like, I want to make this better. And that was one of the reasons I talked to Bill and said, hey man, let's make Weiss.
Yeah.
I know you like it. I know you have your methods and your things. So.
Oh yeah, Bill, I might be. I mean, for a minute there, he was like the king of Weiss beer. He won like 3 years in a row.
Yeah,
so
that's why I was like, this guy knows.
There's a reason why I don't make Weiss beer anymore. I was like, we're Germanish style brewery, but let's just make it lager, because
keep it lager.
That's the most frustrating beer to me to make, because it's just you can do the same thing over and over and over again and come out with a wildly different result. I always joke that if I were going to open another brewery, which I don't think I'll ever do that again. It's painful, obviously. I would do an entire Hefeweizen brewery with like Speise and open tanks, and like that's the only way I want to do it, because I feel like then I can control every variable. But if I can't have that, I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, so that is definitely one that I tried to work on, especially when I got to Bagby, and we would do different versions, and we would try different things. We would blend yeast strains. We would just all sorts of things to try and get better and better results. And Bill helped immensely when we did that collab with you guys, that was great knowledge and a lot of things that I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, yeah, this, and then, like some 3-2-1 thing, and I like,
yeah.
like, dude, okay.
3
I've never
parts
thought
wheat,
about-
2 parts pills,
Yeah.
1 part Munich. Yes.
yeah. I was like, okay, we've been kind of close to that, but no. So that style is definitely one like how there has to be a way to
make
nail this every time.
I think you have to I don't even know, man. It to me is, I used to love it because really good Hefeweizen Weiss beer is so good, and bad Hefeweizen is so bad.
Yes.
I get like a meaty bologna character, like kind of autolyzed yeast, like sulfur. We actually prefer them differently too. I like them banana popsicle, and you prefer more Schneider.
Yeah, I do.
Like clovey.
I like the but in making that strain that Bill uses, definitely has more banana. And I like it when it's in balance, because I do love the clove spice vanilla side of it. And I don't know, my goal was always to get all of those things in balance in
sometimes
beer,
it's just like
with a dry finish.
With a dry finish. You just gotta carve the shit out of it. More bubbles. That's the key. You gotta put it in a bottle with like 4 volumes.
4 volumes.
More bubbles. That's it.
Yes, but doing that and not getting carbonic.
Correct. Well, it is a reason why
It's
there
a
are
hard
places.
thing.
It's a really hard thing. Let's see. I'm always again, very impressed, just your attention to detail in almost everything that you do, and you can tell just by talking to you and talking about the beers you make and just how nuanced they are. When you started making beer, is that what that was the thing that you started to focus on? Is that where your attention to detail came from, or has it always been that in your entire life? So when I make beer, I can't do what you do. I can't focus on so many things like that. I need a short list of 3 things that I can do really well. And I've always been like that. I was always, since I was a kid, I'd be in art class and I'd be making a box as straight as I could, in pottery class. And they'd be like, just decorate it. And I'd be like, no, I don't even know what to do. I just want to make these sides straight. Gotcha. And so that's always been something for me. And I think that's really carried on to why I chose the beers that I choose to make. For you, when you were a kid, has that always been kind of bouncing around a little bit? Do you need that kind of slightly chaotic, a lot of things occupying a lot of your
I think I do, and I never really Dandy's the first one to point, really just do you realize you are so focused on this, and then this thing, let's just say maybe cleaning my areas of our house. She's like, I've seen the brewery, why can't you do this at home? And I feel like it's almost cyclical. I'll be like, okay, and it goes into recipe formulation too. I'm like, okay, well, if I did something different one time, I can't use that information to move forward. So if I'm making a beer, it's no, I exact on this, exact on that, process, all of those things. And I think it definitely helped be able to keep things separate and make a wide variety of styles in a a
it's
good way.
Variety without variety.
Yeah. Well, because I think back to drinking beer in the late 90s or even mid 90s, and it's the classic story. You go into a brew pub and they have a pale ale and a red ale and a brown ale, and you cannot tell the difference between them, and that drove me insane. I was like, well, they're different colors, but they all taste the same because they're all the same yeast, they're all the same malt, and probably all the same hops. And you're like, dude, switch it up a bit,
It's all made the same way.
Yeah.
I think, whenever
fermentation profile, and nope, it's 2 weeks, that's got to be on tap. You're like, well, is it ready? Did it go and do what you wanted it to do in fermentation? Did you dry hop it if needed? Did you fine it? Did you filter it? Did you carbonate it higher or lower? So many different variables. So I think that's where my attention to detail is well, if I know exactly what I did before and I'm going to replicate the parts that I liked or what I feel produced the flavor that I wanted or the aroma or whatever body, then I can use that again. But if I'm loosey-goosey on that process, it'd be oh, we kind of did this last time, like, no, you can't use that to move forward.
It's fair.
So, but yeah, you get into the cocktail thing, and it's like, that's militant.
Oh, by the way,
attention.
Jeff should really be working right now, making tiki drinks,
Hey.
but I had to pull him away for a little bit. What a wonderful, if you know, you know. How about that?
Yeah.
Tiki party. So when you got into beer, like, I don't know that you started at home brewing and things like that. I think it's kind of like the natural progression of kind of what everybody does. Like, but what actually made you want to get into like professional brewing? Like, was that something you always kind of had in the back of your mind as you were doing this home brewing stuff, or was it just like?
Absolutely not.
And there was there's somebody that inspired you to that you looked up to or whatever that kind of like shepherded you into the industry. Like, how did that kind of happen?
Yeah, when I was homebrewing, I was homebrewing with friends in college, and I wasn't honestly even nowhere near as militant about brewing back then. It was just kind of like, okay, cool, we can buy cheap ingredients and make beer a lot cheaper than we can go buy it, kind of thing. And then we started focusing on we had a pale ale that we just kept making all the time. And so I think back then, if you said, hey, you're going to own your own brewery one day, I'd be like, you're high. But I think that there were several components, right? I think I got really into beer. I started meeting people in the industry, and I really liked those people. The communication was open. Somebody wasn't like, wait, who are you and why are you asking me these questions? People were nice. They were genuine. And in return, I was the same. I was like, hey, if you have time, can I ask you a couple questions, kind of thing. And I always, when I got to be a brewer and when people came up to me with those questions, I always tried to give them the time because people gave me that time.
I absolutely, that is probably, okay, so maybe the most inebriated I've ever seen you be is because you are that guy. And when we were in Mexicali at an amazing beer festival, which they should have put the food closer to the beer. I mean, that's going to be on them. Honestly, we probably should have eaten more food, but you got to put the food closer to where the beer is. But I just think it's so cool, that you still have this love and appreciation for beers. That every single person at this festival, these brewers that wanted you to try their beer, you didn't just I'm admittedly extraordinarily bad at this. I like a known quantity. I don't like surprises. This is just, it's not in me. Mm-hmm. But you, every single person that gave you beer, you drank it entirely, gave them feedback to your detriment, to your own eventual detriment. Yeah. But I just, what, is it because of how you were, came up in the industry? Or is it, what keeps you inspired to keep drinking all these beers and not getting I know sometimes it can be negative and things can be bad, of course, but what keeps you wanting to try all these beers? And I don't know, I just think it's a really cool characteristic. I think the Fog, Dandy's dad, has the same quality about him. Even though he's a little bit more,
he's a little more gruff.
He's a little more gruff, and he lager, but he continues to want to try and drink all these beers. Mm-hmm. And where does that come from?
I think it comes from a lot of things. One, it's kind of obvious. People are like, hey, will you try my beer? That's an ego boost instant, right? You're like, why me? Okay, cool. Of course I'll try it. Definitely my experience of being that person asking somebody else. There's also one thing that I noticed that just kind of hit me that I didn't really remember about that before, was witnessing Michael Jackson walk the GABF floor, and even having him come to my own booth. But I was definitely not following the guy around, but I'd be at a booth.
Stalker.
Yeah,
you don't really stalk really well. You're quite tall.
I mean, this is GABF 97. I walk up to a booth and Michael comes up next to me, and of course the brewer behind the booth is just looking at Michael, and I'm watching him taste this beer that I just tasted. And back in 97 there was a good chance that probably I'd say 50-50 or even higher that there was going to be an issue with that beer coming across the table. And I watched him talk to these brewers in a way that wasn't just dump it out right in front of them. No, super negative comments. No, he would tell you that this beer was horrible in a way that you're like, cool, thanks. And I was like, that's an art. That is a talent and something that I I remember now going, wow, that left an impression on me. Like when you're tasting somebody else's beer that is asking you for your opinion, if you can be positive while telling them that they did something wrong, that it doesn't stifle them. I think it encourages them. So you ask questions. You're like, okay, what did you do with this grain bill? What temperature was this part of the process? What yeast strain did you use? What do you get? Do you taste or smell this thing that I'm getting? Do you know where it might have come from? Do you know what your water chemistry is? Like there's so many things to get somebody thinking about what they did about that batch of beer rather than going, oh man, this is rife with diacetyl. I can't believe you're serving it, you know? Like there's
Warm fuzzies and cold prickles.
Yeah. And I know I probably was that person asking somebody for that way back when. And so I know people gave me encouragement. I know people gave me information freely and happily. And it encouraged me to move on and do more and more with beer. And probably how I got into the whole thing, you know.
I think, you know, like the constant inquisitiveness, I think it also, you know, from what I see in your beers and stuff like that is that you don't really ever think you're done learning about it.
Never.
And even if you're not like a book guy, like I'm a book guy, but even if you're not a book guy, you're like still, like you're not satisfied with just having it be. You know, I think like when you look at pizza port, right, it's a very, pizza, beer and shaker pints, like small, like equipment shoved into like wherever you could fit it.
Yeah.
And I just think how interesting it was, because I think you see a lot of people who get the chance to open up their own brewery sometimes do it the same way that they've always done it. Mm-hmm. And I think when you look at Bagby, you can see how you used that information to like grow and be different, right? Like you didn't look at it this one way and say this is how it has to be done and this is the only business model that, you know, works. We are going to change it. So like, why do you think that you were so willing to take a bigger chance and to change the model for yourself?
Several things. I think Dandy and I felt like we were going to places and we were consistently thinking, well, we like this element and this element, but this element could be so much better, and we could offer that for people. So not even just with beer, but with the whole aspect of the way the place looked, the way it ran, the way you ordered, the menu, the food menu that is, the other things that were there. We were like, we wanted to bring this experience, and we you know, you build it up in your mind and you're trying to offer it. Really difficult in actual practice, but I think that was key. That was kind of that reason to push on to do the most craziest thing we've ever done and open that place, a giant place. Everybody was always like, so how many locations do you have? And be like, just the one. They're like, wow, this is big. We're like, thanks for the reminder.
Thanks for the reminder. Thanks, helped really a lot, you know.
But yeah, I think that idea that people were doing good things, and we could, especially in travel, we could bring this element of something back, and hopefully people would enjoy it like we did, and we could bring it to them in one package, multiple experiences and identities to either a certain beer or a certain food or both, or the atmosphere. That was the drive.
Cool. Well, I have to do a short message, or else John's not monitoring me right now, but I'll go do it anyways.
Cool.
So we're going to take a short break for this message and then come right back for more of this conversation with Jeff Bagby.
First Tea is a proud sponsor of the Brewer to Brewer podcast. First Tea has worked with top brewers across the country to bring popular and innovative ingredients to beer and hard tea. Contact First Tea to learn more about natural and flavorful teas, botanicals, and instant teas. Email info@firsttea.com. That's FIRSDTEA.com to find out more. Since 2009, Brewery Branding has been crafting merch that helps breweries thrive. They're born and raised in Portland, Oregon, giving them front row seats to the craft beer revolution and inspiring them to serve as your industry ally for everything branded. Apparel, headwear, drinkware, and all of the wouldn't it be cool if ideas you can dream up. Brewery Branding has been there, done that, and made the t-shirts to prove it. Brewery Branding didn't rise to the top just by being just another supplier. They're your merch mercenaries, ready to get in the trenches with you. Their expert design team, online stores, warehousing, and fulfillment services are here to make your life easier and your custom goods more profitable than painful. Whether you're refreshing your retail space, gearing up for festival season, or launching a new product in retail, Brewery Branding delivers custom goods that are on trend, on brand, and ready to succeed. From the smallest batch to the biggest order, nothing gets them more excited than raising a glass to your success. Visit brewerybranding.com to learn more.
Okay, so we are back,
Cool.
which is great, because I have many more things to talk about, of course.
Right on.
I think I want to talk about a little bit about like the state of the industry right now, and I think again your perspective is very unique because of all the things you've been through from the beginning. You know, working at a small brew pub, working with Tommy, coming from a homebrew background, to working at a place that you were probably pretty comfortable with for a while, to opening up your own brewery, and then seeing kind of how the industry has changed, especially post-COVID, et cetera, and seeing essentially not having the thing anymore, not having your brewery anymore, which I'm hopeful that that's not the case forever, personally. I think that's a bit too fine of a point on it, but I think this industry not only is not as good without you in it, like it feels wrong to be in this industry if there are not people like you still doing it and making it more meaningful. The industry is more valuable with you. And Yvonne said this to you. We were sitting in Brussels on my 40th birthday, drinking 150 beers at a dive bar while Dandelion and Bill were trying to get us to wrap it up. But I don't know exactly, I can't remember exactly how you put it, but this industry needs you, and it needs what you bring to it. And so hopefully we can continue to have that. But I think what I'd like to ask you about is how do we create like a more beer and brewer driven industry? Like I think this is like a conversation I'm having with a lot of people when we consider the state of the industry right now. Like what do you think is going to help it survive? I think it's by making it more about the beer and more about the brewer. And I don't mean in like a hot shot, like name kind of way. I mean in like every person who works in the back of the house, right? That kind of way. Like, what do you think? How do we do this? Or like, I know this is a hard conversation, a long topic, but like, what are some points that that think that would be helpful?
It's so difficult because I think with post-COVID craft beer, there was already confusion, right? If you take like the general public or even the general craft beer drinker, not everybody knows. I was just having a conversation with my buddy Tim over there about the different pizza ports, Port Brewing, Lost Abbey. When I worked there, explaining all those different locations to people. Oh no, actually that beer came from this, not that. And looking at the state now and just how many beers are contract brewed, how many beers that come out of the same facility, probably with very similar recipes or timing or things like that. You don't give the opportunity necessarily for the general drinking public to have an identity or a relationship that goes past what's in the package or in the glass at a pub. So yeah, I've thought a lot about that. Like how do you recreate that sort of buzz?
Yeah, magic plus maturity, right? Like that's kind of what we're trying to create. That magic of like, again, identity. This is mine. It came out of your head, my head, whatever it was. But also the maturity of an industry that is sustainable and thoughtful and takes care of people.
Yeah, it's so difficult. I think number one to me would be to try and I don't know, I have no idea how to do it, would be to eliminate some of that confusion or start eliminating some of that confusion of, that people might have. And I don't, like I said, I don't know how, but it seems like to me when I got into this industry and I would go to big events, it didn't necessarily have to be the GABF, it could have been a festival or an event, or it could have been a pint night back when they had those. The fact of having the actual brewers there to to talk with people, to get them excited about the thing that they just made, because hopefully the brewer is excited about it. And I think there's an element of that is just gone. There's not a lot of opportunity, or there's no reason for those people to want to know about that person, the brewer, or the beer and the style, the history, the idea behind it, or the passion that went into creating it. And God, I wish I knew how to recreate or rekindle that raging fire that I experienced when I was in the probably mid 2000s to beginning of the teens there. It was fun. It was exciting to go to an event and have a group of people come by and like, hey, what do you got going on now? What's new? But also, how does that transfer to the bottom line, right? Like, a lot of us got into this industry. We're not business people. We didn't know anything about it. I'm horrible with numbers. But to do that and also say, okay, yeah, we need to make money. There needs to be a way that we exist and stay to exist. So I think that balance, right, of like, okay, we can take the time to make this beer that this brewer is excited about, while also making things that sell and keep the doors open. What's that balance, right? And how does a brewer, an owner today, come to the general beer drinking public or any potential customer and tie that together and bring that sort of passion together of, I'm passionate about learning about what you made, and I'm passionate about making it. How do you connect that? That's the lock and key that I think shoots this industry back into orbit.
I've definitely thought about that a lot, because I find it very difficult to I like doing this stuff, and I don't mind giving talks. I don't mean it like that, but I find it very difficult to put myself out there in that way, via social media, or especially I have a complex relationship with especially Instagram and Facebook, because I feel like people do need the information, but I find that it's become so fake, right?
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. That's all it is.
It's like you like something, so somebody likes you back, and you're not even really paying attention to what's going on.
It's very black and white. You don't see the passion. You don't get to sit there and hear this person talking about it. I used to joke, and it's no secret that I'm not a fan of hazy IPA, and I'm still waiting for the day for a brewer that made a hazy IPA to describe it to me with passion that I can feel and go, yeah, you really are into this, and you really tried and did what you did. Now go and talk to any brewer that made a German style Pilsner and listen to them talk about what they did and how many times and what came to be to that thing that they are so happy and proud about and so passionate about. I think that's missing a little bit too. And I think partly because, like we talked about, you got to keep the doors open, right? So some brewers are probably making things that they don't necessarily like or don't necessarily want to be associated with being passionate about. So here we're back to the same dilemma, I guess.
I think so.
But
exactly.
Social media is that's a key
it's
point.
Marketing. It's hard because you want to tell people
and
what you
there.
do.
It's not going away.
Yeah, and you want to tell people what you do.
How do you fuel passion into that? And it's really hard when you're looking at it,
especially when you're like, I don't want to do it. How do you? I think it's the mercenary kind of social media people, and I think there are some people when they have it internal and in-house do a better job of it. I'm always really impressed with Goldfinger and even Jack Savvy. They describe decoction, they do all these things, and I don't know how to put that across with sounding not like I'm trying to market it, because I don't like that feeling, and I think some of these people do a really good job at it. I just don't know how to do that, so I kind of just ignore it completely, which I don't know if that's going to work either.
It's hard because you say you put that information out there, but it's really hard to have the response.
How do you make it digestible?
I read this and I made my own conclusion, right? But I don't get to ask back. I'm like, oh, well, why? Or what's this process? Okay, you kind of describe it here, but I don't know what that means. Can I ask more? Can I get more? And then to see that person be passionate and describe it in a way that's a new person that's reading it can understand. You can't do that on social media.
No, and it's hard to make it digestible, I think, too.
Yes.
So I think I want to talk maybe a little bit, kind of, since we're talking about the state of the industry, and we talked about competition at the beginning. You used to judge like all the time, and you've entered a lot of beers over the years. And even just in the time that I've known you, I've seen that kind of passion for that fade a little bit. And I think you're like a super passionate guy, who gives a shit about a lot of things. And so, to see that kind of fade, like, what do you kind of attribute that to, that fading passion for wanting to do those things?
Yeah, no, very,
to
very
enter,
good question.
enter to, because I think we see, today especially, right? We're at the CBC. The World Beer Cup is every year now, and I know a lot of people who are pretty upset about that because it's a lot of effort, and they have less beers entered this year than they have, and they're going back to, instead of limiting it to 5, you can kind of do as many as you want.
Yeah.
Like, where do you think, like, I guess I'll go back to my original question, is like, where did you kind of, what lost it for you? Or like, what do you think about, how it's being like run? Like, again, what caused you to not want to judge as much anymore, or judge at all? Would you ever consider coming back to doing that? And same with, entering beers, which you kind of didn't a couple years, right? And then you kind of did again.
Yeah.
So like, where does that, where did that come from? Like, what impacted that?
Good question. I think on the judging side of things, the last time I judged a big U.S. competition, it was GABF in 2019, and I started judging World Beer Cup and GABF in 2003, so 16 years of judging, and I'd gone through different kind of experiences at judging tables, but normally and usually the experience was great. I not only got to meet other people in the industry that were very passionate about beer, but also got to learn things and ask questions. Some of my very first judging tables, I met people that I'm still friends with now in the industry. And in 2019, I had a horrible experience at a couple of tables and a couple of days of judging, and it stung, and it's still with me. I've judged some other international competitions since then, and there's a different relationship with those competitions than, because I was so involved with GABF and World Beer Cup. I think that made it hurt even more that my experience was so poor. And as a judge, you have the opportunity to give feedback to the BA, to the people that run the competition, basically. And I had spent some time putting together basically my experience and sharing how negative it was, and the points that I felt were negative, that I felt had changed, that I felt had, in my mind, compromised the integrity of the competition in some ways. And I got no response.
I think that, I can see, I can see
So
how that would.
I will say, when I was invited the following year in 2020 to judge, I said, hey, I spent a lot of time on this response and yada yada, and he says, I got a giant apology for missing and questions, and hey, we're working on this and that, and maybe here's why your experience went that way. So there was a follow-up. It just took a while. I think I would definitely consider doing it again. I think there's a very wide and large judging pool now, so more and more people in the industry are familiar with how the competition runs on a judge's side.
I heard this year was very, from lots of people, that it was a very good year of judging.
Good.
From the quality of beer perspective, to also the way that it was
That was ran
and everything. Yeah. So I think, I'd like to see you back probably, rekindle that.
I think I would definitely want to do it again. I don't know when and where. Some people that aren't judges don't realize maybe how difficult it is to be a beer judge. You're,
part of why I don't do it.
Several days sitting in a room, drinking tiny samples, writing about them, giving comments. You have to maintain yourself throughout those evenings and into the mornings to be sharp and put forth your best effort. And just like you would want to receive as a competitor, you want that judge to be just as passionate about judging, or passionate or honest and able to judge that beer. So, and judges have to foot their own bill for a lot of this.
Yep.
A lot of their breweries, especially this day and age, can't afford to send a brewer away to judge for 2, 3, 4 days.
It's harder. In our brewery it's a little hard too. I have Phil, who has his own side project, Amalgam. Both of us cannot be gone for 4 days.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work out. And when I'm home in Colorado, it's even harder. When they have the judging in Colorado, I've considered it because I hear if you want to change something, you gotta try to change it from within. And so we've had long discussions about what I feel about judging and competitions and things like that. We don't participate doing it. It's not that I don't have any respect for it, because I do. I'm the first person, if you've ever won a medal and you know me, I'm the first person that will congratulate you. I watch all of them, and I'm so proud of the people who do it. It's just, I don't know. I think I'm going to get to the point where if I want to change something, I'm going to have to participate in it.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
I knew that. I will say I feel like my knowledge about beer grew immensely when I started judging, and so did my passion for it. Entering because of that experience, I was burned on entering too, so we didn't participate in the competition for a while. And I think what brought it back was just the idea that I was just kind of curious. I had in my mind where I felt some of these beers were on par with.
Was Beagles the first one you won with when you came back?
I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, English brown ale.
Beagles, yeah.
Yeah. So
delicious, by the way. You should definitely bring that one back.
Yeah. So yeah, I beers like that, not a lot of brown ale being brewed out there. Let's see where this
Phil
lands.
and I are trying to chase that Baltic Porter.
Oh yeah. Yes.
That won a lot of times recently.
Yes. So
I don't know. Would you ever consider running for the BA? You're a big time industry guy. Does that any of that politics is not for me.
Most of that
but would you ever?
Most of that is not really my thing. That
I didn't think so.
Like
But I had to ask. I had to ask though. You get to a certain point in your career, and you're like, "What do I do now?"
Right.
And how do I impact the industry further? And I think that's a natural thing to maybe want to do. I don't really have any interest in ever doing any of that stuff. I know a lot of people like it.
I always
want to be
respond when people
part of it.
ask me, "Oh, what are you doing? What are you?" I'm like, I just love making beer.
Yeah.
Boots on in a brew house.
It's part of why I want to interview you and when I interviewed Tanya, you know what I mean? These are brewers. These are beer people. These are the people that I admire, and I'm a brewer. That's what I do. I do this. I get to do other cool things, and I love to travel and stuff like that. But I don't know. We were gone for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I came back, and I was so happy to be back in my brewery and brewing, putting my boots on, cleaning stuff up, making beer, just casual. I love that so much. Those days to me are the best, even when they're kind of stressful.
Yeah.
Got my malt order in, by the way, so we're good today.
Good.
Maybe.
good for Monday, Tuesday.
Good for Monday, Tuesday, exactly. I can't be just only having fun.
Yeah.
I think we're getting close to the end here, but I did want to ask you some kind of random questions so that people know more about Jeff Bagby, as I call him Jefferson, not his real name, by the way. Okay, so you have 4 beagles.
Yes, we
How
do.
are the beagles? Are they good?
They're
sure you've
great.
gotten lots of pictures.
I got a
no,
video
literally
earlier.
4 beagles. It's amazing to hear them all in all in
concert.
All in concert, all in symphony. There you go.
Yeah. They can be loud.
Yeah,
But
so
also
you've got
can
the
be,
2 new ones. How are they fitting in? So
they're doing great. The boys are.
This is your second time having 4 beagles, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
I know that, but maybe everybody else out there doesn't know that you're a beagle guy.
Yeah.
How did you just end up being a beagle guy, or is
I had a beagle as a child and really, really liked. I had other dogs as well, but just really, really liked that. I like that breed. They're very, very strong personalities, and the individual personalities. They're each so different, but they also have similarities. They're very snuggly dogs. They love their owners. They're very curious, but also very stubborn.
and very mischievous too.
Yes, they are food scent hounds. So yeah, you got to watch where you put food, or you may not
Or
ever
IPA.
see it. Or yes.
Or IPA. You got to watch where you
Yes,
put that too.
We have a dog that broke into some cans of really big IPA once, and we had to take him to the emergency vet. So yeah, they like a lot, but they're just, I don't know, you can't help but not love them. They bring so much joy and so much laughter and just good feelings to our lives. And Dandy, was kind of like, okay, we got one beagle first, started off, and she was the same way. She's
Quickly
like, I don't
got
know.
out of hand.
She's
hand.
like,
How to hound.
yeah.
Quickly got out of hand.
She's like, I don't know how people don't have dogs that are this way, that are independent and just so curious and have these just strong personalities. She's like, what's fun about a boring dog kind of thing?
Nothing is fun about a boring dog. I like big dogs, you know that. But
Of course.
Okay, so I'm a Swiftie because I
Okay.
like Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Are you a Pearl Jammer? What do you call yourself? Because you're a huge Pearl Jam fan. Like you've
Yeah.
seen what? How many times have you seen Pearl Jam in concert?
More than any other band, probably somewhere in the 30 or 40 times throughout their life and mine. I have a friend that I went to high school with and played soccer with in high school, who's Eddie Vedder's little brother. So when he was still living in
not
San
know this.
Diego,
Okay.
my friend got tapes from, he's like, oh, my brother's in this new band, so we had like early versions that we got to hear. And Eddie's mom, my friend's mom too, would like come to our soccer games and stuff, and so I had more of a close connection with the band back then, and I just really appreciate their music. They're amazing musicians in their own right. So you go and see them live. It is, even if you've never heard
When was
one
the
of their
last
songs.
time you saw? It's pretty
Vegas.
recent. In Vegas, yeah.
In May of last year, so yeah, almost a year ago. But yeah, I've just always liked the band. I have friends that are way bigger fans than I am. I have a friend who's seen them over 100 times,
Jesus.
and we used to pick a new city when they'd tour. We'd just go there. He was always like, okay, we're going to Kansas City, and be like, okay, yeah, I know some breweries there, I know some people there, that type of thing, because he would always use that connection, and he would help us out with tickets and like all the Pearl Jammy events and
Pearl
stuff.
Jammers? What do you call?
I don't know.
Do you
What
call
they,
yourself
I
something?
don't know what they call. Well, their fan club is called the 10 Club. The
Okay.
original studio album is called 10. So I'm a 10 Club member. You get a membership number from however long since, and so when they do ticket sales, you can get priority through that.
Do you have like
club.
a favorite concert you've been to of theirs? Like, was there one that like just like epically above all others?
There was one that goes way back that I'll never ever forget. And that was Mother's Day in 1992. I wasn't 18, and they were playing at a club in Tijuana, and a bunch of my friends who were all older than me, who were 18, were going, and I'm like, I didn't have a ticket, I didn't have an ID, and obviously I made it into the show, but I also got to talk to Eddie that night. I stage dove from a balcony onto the stage and then onto the crowd. Like Eddie's and my friend Mike, his little brother, their mom was there. Like so many of my friends, I was senior in high school, so it was just
Is that time you're
an
like-
epic experience. Like, they were a fairly new band at the time, so their catalog wasn't that big. Literally, like after like a couple of encores, Eddie came out. He's like, "We don't have any more to play."
We're gonna have to recycle.
They
this.
were like throwing their backstage food out to the crowd. They're like, "Hey, have some food!" Like
That's
it was
amazing.
It was just a crazy show, and a lot of my friends who still will travel with us to go see shows were at that show and remember iguanas. So that would probably be my, my favorite.
Your
my
favorite,
most
or the
memorable.
one most memorable one. That's a pretty
Yeah.
memorable show, and you you survived it.
Yeah,
Which is
I hit
good.
a microphone with my shoulder on stage on accident. That's fun.
That's awesome. So I think we're gonna wrap it up, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to elaborate anything, or do you have any final word? Not final words. That sounds morbid. But do you have any? Do you have any thing to wrap it up? Like any words of wisdom, words of advice, anything at all? The stage is yours. Give us
boy.
something to remember.
That's I think maybe just something internally that I'm thinking about is that I've been out for a little bit since November of last year, and meaning I am not working in a brew house and making beer, but I want and have been making a conscious effort to keep myself connected to this industry because, like you said and others have told me, we really want you to make beer again, and I really want to make beer again. And so when I think about that, I want to, when that opportunity comes and when I take it, I want to make sure that I'm doing the best I can to not only just make the best beer that I can, but also encourage, like we've talked about, encourage however I can the growth of the industry. And part of it, I think, is relating to others in the industry that are younger and encouraging and talking with and taking those phone calls and those emails and or in person, hey, how's it going? And taking a conscious effort to say, hey, how's it going? What are you curious about? Why are you in this industry? What do you think is the best part of it? And just trying to encourage through conversation, because like we kind of talked about, social media is unfortunately king when it comes to communication in this industry because it's so fast and it's so in your face, and you get that half a second or whatever from a person to see what somebody's posted. I'd like to see it move back to in-person conversation as the more meaningful part of that and try to get that going. Other than that, I would encourage people to brew what they want to brew. I know it's hard because, as we talked about, there is a bottom line that has to be met. But dig deep, make your beers the best that they can be, and constantly ask questions and constantly find out how you can make your beer better. Because I guarantee you, your gold medal winning best beer you've ever brewed can be better.
I agree. Well, I think that's amazing. So thank you so much. I mean, again, it's been an honor. Again,
Me
it's
too.
funny that I was nervous. I know, it's so silly. Like talk to you like all the time. But just in this, I wanted to be able to like do justice to what you've done. And so thank you so much for agreeing to do this. And it's so cool to be able to see you here in Indiana.
I feel honored to be chosen.
Oh, okay. You get to choose somebody too, maybe. I don't know how John's going to do this, but
Okay,
anyways, thank you so much. And I'm going to read John's little thing here for him. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, everybody. And as a reminder, visit allaboutbeer.com and follow on social media. To support journalism in the beer space, check out allaboutbeer.com/support. I'm Ashleigh Carter of Bierstadt Lagerhaus, and thank you for listening to the Brewer to Brewer podcast.
Since 2009, Brewery Branding has been crafting merch that helps breweries thrive. They're born and raised in Portland, Oregon, giving them front row seats to the craft beer revolution and inspiring them to serve as your industry ally for everything branded. Apparel, headwear, drinkware, and all of the wouldn't it be cool if ideas you can dream up. Brewery Branding has been there, done that, and made the t-shirts to prove it. Brewery Branding didn't rise to the top just by being just another supplier. They're your merch mercenaries, ready to get in the trenches with you. Their expert design team, online stores, warehousing, and fulfillment services are here to make your life easier and your custom goods more profitable than painful. Whether you're refreshing your retail space, gearing up for festival season, or launching a new product in retail, Brewery Branding delivers custom goods that are on trend, on brand, and ready to succeed. From the smallest batch to the biggest order, nothing gets them more excited than raising a glass to your success. Visit brewerybranding.com to learn more. First Tea is a proud sponsor of the Brewer to Brewer podcast. First Tea has worked with top brewers across the country to bring popular and innovative ingredients to beer and hard tea. Contact First Tea to learn more about natural and flavorful teas, botanicals, and instant teas. Email info@firsttea.com. That's FIRSDTEA.com to find out more.